Hello and welcome to Now We Know, where we revisit traumatic and delightful kids pop culture of the 80s and 90s.
That's right. Each episode we look back at something impactful from our youths through the jaded eyes of adulthood. I'm Chris Tognati. With me, as always, is Kevin Werkheiser.
Hey Philly! Hey Philly! I'm in Philadelphia at this time. If you're not watching, if you're just listening to the podcast in a traditional podcast way.
It's true. Kevin is wearing a Philadelphia Phillies jacket because he wanted to go see the San Francisco Giants play in Philadelphia. He saw their big, I want to say, 11-4 win over the hated Phillies.
Yep.
But he's a coward. He's a snake in the grass, so he decided to dress as though he were a Phillies fan. Perhaps fearful he would meet the same fate as the tragic Brian Stowe many years ago.
Wasn't that in L.A.?
Yeah. But, Philadelphia. The city of brotherly love, sure. Sure.
Everyone was very nice to me, all very good fans. I did tell them I was a Giants fan, but then it got a little too cold for me, and I came back with a Phillies jacket, and they were like, whoa, hey, Kev, oh. They're not from New York, but I can't do the Philly accent. It's tricky.
No, it's a likely story. A very likely and plausible story for why you wore that Phillies jacket to the ball game. So, we're not here to talk about baseball unless we're talking about Duke Snider, the favorite player.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good
point. The favorite player of Casper, the friendly ghost. That kid picked wrong. You got 3 center fielders in the Big Apple. You got Duke Snider, Mickey Mantle, and Willie Mays. And only one of those 3 would a common person not know.
That's true.
Which of them was the worst? Well, I've never heard of Duke Snider, so...
So you think that the ball is not worth very much? If it had been a Mickey Mantle ball, then she could have been like, oh, it is the treasure.
No, I don't think any signed baseball is likely to be worth the amount of trouble of killing yourself. And then killing yourself on promise of reanimation.
Yeah.
Also,
it's not worth killing yourself over.
Yeah. Also, do you really need... Well, we'll get to... You don't really need a second The corporeality of the ghosts and how that shifts in this movie suggests to me that you don't need a second person to operate your revivification unit. You could do that all on your own.
Of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we watched Casper. Let's start at the very end.
Casper, the Friendly Ghost. The movie about Casper, the Friendly Ghost. He is not called friendly.
No. He talks about friendship.
In the title.
Yeah.
He does discuss friendship, and he is friends with the gross uncle ghosts.
Yes, that's true.
Yes, this movie came out in 1995 when I was a lad of 9. I did see this at the Corte Madera Cinema, R.I.P. The long dead Corte Madera Cinema. When that theater first shut down, they put the word close up there. And I thought, oh, there's a new movie called Close playing. And I was like, oh, wait, no, that's just an indication that my life is worse now. That one of my 2 childhood theaters, I guess there were more than 2. There's Larkspur Landing, that's still there. Yeah. Thanks to my friends at Cinema West, mine and yours.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the Sausalito Theater, that's gone. Smith Ranch Road is gone. Corte Madera Cinema gone. The Lark Theater is still there.
Northgate gone.
Northgate gone, yes.
I thought Northgate was unstoppable.
Yeah, that was a less essential theater in my childhood, but it was a reliable stopgap when the others weren't available. And then you still got the Lark Theater, but, you have a hell of a time getting them to show a normal movie these days. Now, they showed the Star Warses recently. Don't you want to see all 3 of the original Star Warses at the Lark? You're a Star Wars guy.
More than any of the other Star Warses.
Well,
if Star Wars it must be. The original 3 for me.
I mean, that's like saying, do you want to see Willie Mays play or do you want to see Duke Snider play? All right. So, Casper dropped in 95 with an all-star cast. Bill Pullman, Christina Ricci. Christina Ricci, still a child when this came out, a child actor. So she's very good in this. a preternaturally strong child actor. And then we have the talents of such persons as Eric Idle.
Yeah, never stronger. Is that why we're watching this? Is so that we can do a bonus episode on his Ghost TV show?
We've referenced his Ghost TV show, Nearly Departed, a number of times.
Everyone lately is making me crazy. Now that we've joined the deceased, there'll be no resting in peace. Nearly departed.
I don't see any harm in referencing it again now. Eric Idle in the late 80s, trying to break into the American sitcom world with a show where he plays the husband half of a husband and wife sort of upper crust couple who are killed in a rock slide, I believe. And they haunt the house they died in, but then a new family moves in. And isn't that funny? But the new family can't see or hear Eric Idle.
Nobody can except the old man.
But the grandpa of the new family can see them, which I can only take to mean that it's because he's almost dead.
Yeah.
He's like approaching death.
Yep.
And it's a near enough thing that he can see ghosts.
Grandpa will be playing for us soon.
Yes. Yeah, it's, I've watched one episode of it. It wasn't very good. I believe the one episode involved Eric Idle derisively referring to a tween or, at oldest, 14 or 15-year-old girl as a slut. That it didn't exactly didn't entice me to watch more. It's because she might try to hook up with like one of the kids in the family, or vice versa.
Okay.
And he's been put in charge by the grandpa to babysit the kids, which he can't do because he's a ghost. They can't see or hear. But the grandpa wanted to like go out and watch the game with his boys. So he delegates to a ghost, and then the parents get home, and they're like, well, what the fuck? And he can't very well tell them, no, I put a ghost in charge.
This sounds great. I'm laughing now,
Hey.
just at the idea.
Well, you should watch it. It might be the first episode of Nearly Departed. So,
I might enjoy that more than I enjoyed an hour and 40 minutes of Casper.
really, you didn't like
Friendliness
this?
Unaddressed. No. I never liked this. Didn't like it when it came out. Sorry, I'm jumping to the review. I didn't like it. I cannot. I'm
surprised.
Of course
This is
we
a
watch
perfect-
worse things than this, but I hate this.
This is a perfectly charming and stately children's movie for the mid-90s. I'm very surprised to hear you have such a negative opinion of it. I could respect a middling to didn't really like it opinion. I'm surprised at this level of vitriol from you.
Bring me Grandpa's magical toys. At least it's only 50 minutes.
You don't believe that. You can't.
I do believe that. I definitely.
Wow.
During Grandpa's Magical Toys, I wasn't writing "end" over and over again in my notes
Yeah, but
with
during
exclamations.
Okay, I think maybe you're a little bit like, oh, I'm in the big city. I want to go do things on my day off. I don't want to watch Casper. When we watched Grandpa's Magical Toys, also, you watched this alone in a hotel room. When you were watching that, you had an absolute maniac cackling the whole time, which probably made it more exciting for you.
It would be worse if somebody were just loving, like eating it up with a spoon.
Well, you
right
should have been
next to
watching
me.
it. You should have been watching it with me. Oh, guffawing, knee slapping, full-throated belly laughter, start to finish. So it's clear that we're gonna have a little bit of conflict on this episode, but that's fine. Huh?
Did you like it as a kid?
Yes. Yeah, I liked it as a kid. I thought it was, I think I was given the clamshell VHS of it afterwards. I thought it was fun and cute. And I thought that the love story between Christina Ricci and Casper the Ghost was quite moving.
Did you actually feel that?
I liked it, yeah.
Ugh.
I was like, oh, if only there was a Christina Ricci in my life, and I was dead, so that
if
she'd
only I
notice
were
me.
dead.
If only I were dead and a ghost. Because that's the, if you're having trouble getting past the talk phase, I'm dead, I'm a ghost, that's a good way to leapfrog right into someone's interest. It's like, we don't have to talk about the fucking weather or what homework we have. I'm dead.
Isn't that interesting?
I don't
Does
go
this
to
do
school.
it for you? I turn into a balloon. Now what?
Surely you're not going to deny that the Casper the Ghost effect is good. He looks great. Casper looks great in this.
It was the pinnacle of CG at the time. I was very impressed. I don't think he looks like Casper in the comics to me. He looks vaguely like Casper, but not really like Casper.
I
think it's maybe the pupils and the irises. I think it's that he's not just like with Tintin. When Tintin has like irises, it's weird. I feel the same way about Casper.
Okay.
I just think he's just a little off model for me then and now.
Well,
I was a Casper kid. I liked Casper the comics. Mm-hmm. They're not like thrilling. They're just like light and pleasant and 50s-y. And it's weird to try and make it like a cool hip 90s one with swears. They say hell and they say bitch.
There's a couple bitches in this. There's two bitches. One from Carrington, the nefarious Carrington, referring to herself as a bitch, so it's okay. Mm-hmm. That's a term that it's okay for a woman to apply to themselves.
Sure.
Or perhaps other women. But then when Eric Idle says it, boo, hiss, boo. We know how you Python guys are. We know you're not quote unquote woke enough to get away with this. I think I did read some Casper comics. Was Casper, I forget who created him.
Harvey. That's why he's Dr. Harvey. Harvey, this is part of the Harvey cinematic universe, along with Richie Rich.
Okay, well, great. Yeah, I'm familiar with the theory that Casper is the ghost of Richie Rich, which doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Because Richie Rich wouldn't die that young. He's fucking rich. It's like, oh, I got sick. Well, your rich parents would have taken you to the fucking doctor. The only case for it being Richie Rich is that somebody rigged up a machine that could bring him back to life, and that probably cost some money to do.
Right. And this is the part of his soul that was like good and cared about people. The money half was reformed into flesh, and the heart, the friendliness. We never got a Little Wendy movie. Do you think nowadays we'd get a Little Wendy movie?
I don't know who Wendy is.
Little Wendy. She's
okay. I mean, I can glean she's probably like a lady Richie Rich, but probably with less money, right?
She is with less money than Richie Rich, as many are, and she is with more life than Casper.
Sure.
But
is she the life of the party like Casper?
No, she's a witch. She's a little witch with a little whisk broom that she calls a wish broom, and she grants her wishes.
Well, I feel bad that we never got her movie on the basis of this description. It does sound a little thin at this point, but
not like Casper.
Room to build
Boy
on.
Dead. Boy Dead would be nice if alive.
Apparently you're a fan of the Casper comics, so I don't know why you're coming at the basic concept of Casper. You're grumpy. You're grumpy because you had to watch a movie that is no worse than a 2.5 out of 5. But you rolled out of bed. You have a little rumbly in your tumbly. You either wish you'd had more or less coffee. I don't know what's going on in there. And you're like, Casper, get this little bastard off my screen.
I do agree with that part.
Sure.
I did, yeah. I saw this when it was new. I was living in L.A., and I thought Christina Ricci was cute.
This is what it is. You're upset you didn't get the part. You went out for Casper.
It's not impossible. I was not a Devon Sawa type.
They were like, sorry, we're looking for someone who was born a child. You seem to have been born a 40-year-old man. Casper's hairline is going to be a CG thing. We don't need a child with a receding hairline.
It's not receding. He's spear bald. Yeah.
They were trying to explain it to you to let you down easy.
I was excited for Casper. Liked the comics. CG as a concept was cool still. And I liked Christina Ricci from those movies about the family of Adamses. Then I saw this movie and didn't like it. Just felt basically as I do now, very like just dragged along by it in spite of some good visual effects. And I don't really feel like anybody who looks quite right. I mean, some of it is just they're not 2D. They're some different stylistic intent for the uncles. Fatso, the ghostly trio. Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch. It's I didn't like it then. Then I was shocked to find I think it did badly, yeah. And then I was shocked to find that girls my age, who are now women my age, but girls at the time my age in high school were all like, "Oh my God, that scene in Casper at the end, Devon Sawa." I was like, "What? That weird looking guy? I don't know.
Weird looking. He's clearly, for a kid that age, he is clearly the ideal vision of a mid-90s, like, heartthrob hunk as an 11-year-old. Yeah. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised that you would be surprised by that.
I was. I don't know. He's got too much of a babyish face because he is like 11 or 12 or whatever he is.
Yeah.
And but he's got like bedroom eyes. Ugh, I don't
know. You gotta remember when this was going on, you're a kid, so you're more into people your age. Obviously, You were a bit older. That's probably the issue here, is that when you saw this, you were already 19.
I was 13, same age as, like, surely the split between Casper and Kat, because Kat is in high school, and Casper is officially 12.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a quite fine film. Yes. So we mentioned some of the actors, some details about it. Kevin dislikes this movie so vehemently that this is one of these movies, sad to say, that he simply believes did poorly because he can't grapple emotionally with the reality that it was a smash hit.
Really?
This movie cost $55 million to make, and it made a little more than $250 million at the box office. This is a bona fide hit. Which might be why they made two sequels straight to video that were much less effectively received. Like Casper's two direct-to-video indirect prequels, Casper, A Spirited Beginning, and Casper Meets... Who does Casper meet, Kevin?
Wendy.
Oh. So there is a Wendy movie.
We did get a Wendy movie.
Yes, although only riding on the coattails of Devon Sawa's Casper.
Yeah.
Do you think Casper's a more appropriate, like, relational match for Wendy, or do you think it's too much to be like a ghost and a witch?
No, I think that makes more sense. Maybe she can, turn herself incorporeal, hang out with him. Maybe she can turn him into a boy.
They're only incorporeal seemingly when they want to be. I mean, they're ghosts. They can. If they're doing haunting, sometimes you're gonna have to pick up a lamp and move it around.
Yes, they can affect things, and they're corporeal when Bill Pullman's got his vacuum, but when they're just kind of stretchy, the rules of the ghostness are squishy.
So, let's jump right in. There's a lot to get to. It's a complicated film. We don't need to belabor the point any longer. So, Casper and his uncles, Stretch, Fatso, and Stinky. Mm-hmm. I want to say, Stinky. I did not like those three. Whenever they were around, I was like, can we please get back to heartwarming, shy Casper and all his japes? Let's not, I don't... What it really is even as a kid, I was like, I don't like jokes that are just like fart jokes or jokes about smelly things. Yeah. Like, for whatever reason, when I could have been 4 years old, I would have been like, this is just... Because the thing is, everyone is farting all the time. Farting and burping all the time. It's all around you. Like, we all know it's happening all the time. It just never struck me as a funny thing. Like, if something smells bad, I'm unhappy about that. It's not like something that makes me laugh.
Yeah. I wasn't like a ew, like in an enjoying way kid either.
Yeah. So they're all presumably dead already. We come in, Kerrigan something or other. Kerrigan, what's the last thing?
I don't know.
Kerrigan Crittenden. Kerrigan Crittenden. Not unlike Not unlike the company that show brother Evan used to work for, Crittenden Research.
Okay.
One of the funniest descriptions, secondhand descriptions of what a job was that I've ever heard. Carrington Crittenden is at her lawyer's office, capably portrayed by Ben Stein, still in his prime, doing his Ben Stein thing.
$11 million. To the Save the Pumas Foundation, $1.2 million. To the Patagonian Wasp Salvation Fund, $1.4 million. To the Dyslexic Dalmatians Foundation.
To hell with the livestock. What did the old stiff leave me?
Obviously, we now understand Ben Stein to be not a nice man. Not a nice man, some of the things he's said in recent years about our world. But back then, he was still just the funny guy who, sure, he used to write speeches for Nixon, but look at how smart and boring he is. Don't you love seeing him, folks?
We get a little Spielbergian opening though, with the two kids that break into the house to go take a Polaroid of themselves in there, and they hadn't invented selfies yet, so they were just like baffled as to how both of them could be in the shot. And then Casper's like, "I'll take the picture," and then they're screaming, and the Polaroid develops over the course of the credits. All of that, I was like, "Oh, this is solid, good opening." Maybe I've misjudged it. Perhaps when I was a kid and when my daughter was watching it, I was just being a butt.
Yeah. I don't know what you would watch that and be like, oh, maybe. I don't know what then about the rest of the movie came as a shocking disappointment to you. I feel like it's all kind of at that pitch for me.
It's plotting.
I think you maybe are just, maybe you are uncomfortable with how much Bill Pullman's character reminds you of yourself.
I wish.
Yeah.
Bill Pullman is another one of these guys that I just always feel is like pretending. He just feels like he's not acting exactly. Like he's just kind of doing his same thing. I like him in certain roles. I've softened on him, but when I was a kid, seeing him in Spaceballs, I was very unhappy. I was like, this guy has nothing like the Han Solo energy. He is nothing like Han Solo. It took me a long time to like even face that he was supposed to be a Han Solo type.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I feel that way about all of his roles, but I do feel that way about this one. I think it's mostly because I feel like Bill Pullman as a man projects an energy where he seems like he'd be pretty competent and together. So to watch him play this guy who, one of our worst movie dads when you get right down to it, really trying to let his, would you characterize him as employing weaponized incompetence?
To an extent, no. I think it is proper incompetence. They set up pretty early that he and Christina Ricci have a sort of Gadget and Penny energy, where he's just kind of bumbling and she's figuring shit out for him. But yes, as you say,
he's more in a lead role than Gadget is, though. He is fundamentally right that there are ghosts.
Yeah, but he hasn't seen any. Okay, well anyway, Kerrigan, the villainess.
They're at the lawyer's office. Kerrigan's fucking prick husband, not husband, father, often died. She spent 2 days holding his hand on his deathbed, and all he left her was an enormous house.
Yeah. In fairness, he left many millions to all kinds, like $1 million to each type of animal. So
sure.
You can see why you'd be a little upset.
I mean, I'd be a little upset. The implication of I spent these days holding his hand on his deathbed is that she probably did not have a relationship with him or much of one prior. She is clearly being portrayed as a cold, vindictive, I might even say deceitful woman.
I don't know who she's deceived. I guess she deceived.
You don't know she's deceitful? Did you even watch this movie? That woman is deceitful. Yeah, who does she deceive?
She's like, I want this ghost out of this house so I can get the treasure at the bottom. Then it's like, oh wait, she's trying to get this treasure out of this ghost house.
I think she is clearly engaging in a variety of negative behaviors, up to and including deceit.
I don't think it's beyond her. I just don't think it comes up.
Well, I'll if anyone here has seen Casper before, call the Now We Know Call the Now We Know hotline at 415-349-3659. Feel free to call the hotline and tell us if you believe Carrington Crittenden in this movie qualifies as a deceitful character. Or, in my parlance, a deceitful woman. I'm not trying to make it a sexist thing, but it is just a fact. She is a woman, and what a woman, God. She is involved in some manner of professional personal relationship with her attorney, played by Eric Idle. Are they fucking? Well, they are, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Because at one point, Eric Idle is like, it's a very personal relationship.
Yeah.
Although
and then Christina Ricci says that, yes, I have a very personal relationship with my father. So I don't know if she's misunderstanding there. She it feels like she's just kind of like stumbling for what to say because it was a weird thing for him to say.
Yeah, I agree. He plays a character whose name is his character's given name, the name on his birth certificate and social security card, presumably. If
He's
he
not
is
from the U.S., yeah.
Is he not? They don't specify.
He's got that outrageous accent.
First of all, I think he's toning it down a little bit. But also, there are people with British accents who are natural-born American citizens. Eric Idle is playing a character who, let's say his birth certificate there, the name is Paul Plutzker.
Oh?
Paul Plutzker is the character's name. Paul Dibbs Plutzker. Why is his name Dibbs? No, not clear. Bears no relationship to the character's given name.
When do you learn his name is Paul Plutzker? Just like she's like, this is my attorney,
you learn
Paul
when
Plutzker?
Presumably when you either watch the credits or check Wikipedia after you've watched Casper. His name is
like
Paul Dibbs Plutzker.
All right.
She is incensed about this thing where, oh, you gave all my money to the whales and the dolphins. Mm-hmm. She does inherit Whipstaff Manor in Maine, in the town of Friendship, Maine. She complains that place is a dump. When you see it, it's like, look, this house clearly, even if they knock the house down, you're gonna get north of $1 million for this property. It's the size of like a state palace in like a mid to small sized like Central European nation. It is a very big property that is on a bluff overlooking just the wide open Atlantic Ocean. It's incredibly beautiful. If she doesn't want to deal with anything else, she's still getting money out of this, but it's not good enough for her because okay, she's a venal woman. Would you take that? Are you going to contest venality? Okay.
Never. But it's the house is officially speaking condemned, and then you go in the house via camera, and fine, nothing wrong with it. Just some cobwebs. You condemn for cobwebs now?
Yeah. When I saw this, I knew what condemned meant because my childhood home had been condemned. It was why we had to move. So when they said the house is condemned, I was like, oh, that's sad. That's why I don't get to live in that house I liked better than my current one anymore.
So she's unhappy about the will situation. She gets the house. She's pissed off, throws the will into the fire. Eric Idle says, no, it's also the deed. So he's trying to get it out of the fire, but then the flames illuminate secret writing.
Yeah, about a treasure. There's a treasure hunt afoot. There's treasure in Whipstaff Manor. Madness to burn the deed to your new mansion, even if it is condemned.
Yeah.
Ben Stein tells them it's condemned, and Eric Idle is like, well...
Carrigan, this is condemned seafront property.
Tips.
Technically, it's seafront condemned property.
Yeah, he's right.
And that's played as a laugh line, but he's right. This is immensely valuable property.
But I will say that all of this is very efficient. I was watching it this time. I was like, okay, here we go. Off to the races. Here's the scene. She's a bad lady. And here's, what she wants out of it. Place is no good. Oh, there's treasure in the bottom. And all of this happens, I don't know, in 2 minutes or something. It's like, all right, and away we go. I wish the rest of the movie had that much to say and that much plot to get through that quickly.
I mean, I think it's... look, not a lot happens in this movie. Like, if you look at the point-by-point list of the plot events of it, it's pretty thin. The reason for that is because you're just supposed to be swept away by the magic of Casper. and of his affection, the many loves and lives of Casper the Ghost. What a sweet little guy he is. How sweetly he cares for Kat, Christina Ricci. And then you get the slapstick stuff with the uncles. So they Eric Idle and Carrington, strange first name, Carrington. They go to Maine to check out the mansion, and they are chased out by the ghosts. Not Casper, but his silly menacing uncles. They then turn to some ghost exterminators, some exorcists, to try to remedy this problem. They say a joke like this feels like it should come in threes, but they only have two.
I assume they couldn't get the rights to the third one, or they were like, oh, well, this one's not playing well, because even Ray Stantz doesn't play so well.
No, well, this is just, especially knowing what we know now of Dan Aykroyd, it's like, obviously he's the one you'd ask. He's got the suit in his closet. He's never gotten rid of it. He's like, yeah, I can be there in half an hour. And, you know, it's weird to see him in the suit here, too, because this is an age where he never was Ray Stantz.
Yeah.
Canonically, like, he's too old, but he's not so old that he's sad old Aykroyd from the new ones.
Yeah.
So, first, there's two of these. The Dan Aykroyd one, I do not like. Hate it. The Father Guido Sarducci one, I do like. That's a winner.
I was astonished, because I sure didn't remember that. Because we get a close-up, they're like, oh, the house is haunted. Who are you going to call? And we get a close-up of a cross hanging around somebody's neck. And I was like, this is a very cheap-looking cross. And I was about to write that down. And then we zoom out as Father Guido Sarducci, a noted comedic character of one guy. Like his
SNL,
one character
yes.
that he just brings along with him everywhere. And so I was like, well, he just brought the cross. That's just his stage cross.
Yeah. It's the same one he wore behind the Weekend Update desk when they talked to him about the Catholic faith.
I one time shot a wedding in my early days of work, and Father Guido Sarducci came out as like the surprise guest that the parents had paid for. And he bombed. He bombed as hard as it is possible to bomb at the wedding. I had shot the wedding, and then I was editing it because I misplaced one of the tapes somehow. I think it got thrown away by the staff at the fancy hotel. But the bride and groom were like, oh, that's fine. We don't care that you missed out on a bunch of stuff. We really need you to cut out Father Guido Sarducci. We want none of him in this. It's like, we only have half an hour of material. Other than that, great. That's we care about is not him.
How much do you think you had to pay him to come out as Father Guido? And then you're like, that was so bad, it all has to go. Like, you
Surely
couldn't
thousands.
even keep, like, a still frame of him to be like, oh, he was there. If you show almost nothing, then at least you're like, maybe he was really funny. No, this is, like, Stalin erasing the pictures. There must be no mention that Guido was there.
Yeah.
So, I do think he's okay in this, however, mostly because it is such a weird, meandering, understated performance that, to a child, I didn't know who this character was. My dad liked Guido Sarducci, so he recognized him. But I was like, what the fuck is that? Why? This guy's not a proper priest.
Yeah, something's up, but I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah. So he goes in, he comes back out with what looks like vomit all over him, and his head has been twisted all the way around backwards.
Well, how did it go?
Oh, was fine. Was no problem.
He has to, like, turn around to face them. He continues to insist that it was, quote, a piece of cake. He has earlier asserted that it would be like a piece of crumb cake for him to deal with this. But he's also like, so you know how to do this, right? And he's like, well, from what I've learned and read and observed from other people, I can do it. But his delivery is good here. This is solid work from Father Sarducci. But then when they bring out Dan Aykroyd and his Ghostbusters getup, it's like, no, this is cheap and this is too easy and it's too much. Like, it lands with a thud. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you got a Ghostbuster, great. You got the most you got the Ghostbuster who's the most willing to show up, and it's like Ghostbusters 2. It has the energy of, like, this is what it looks like if you pay Dan Aykroyd to be at a children's birthday party. Like, that's
Yes.
the level you're getting here. You're getting
is
out
what
of
it
him
feels
here
like.
in this movie what those wedding patrons got out of Father Guido at the wedding.
Yeah, that's true. You can't say that he's the Ghostbuster most willing to show up when Ernie Hudson was in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, though. Guaranteed, Dan got a little extra cash.
I think the distinction I would make is that I bet Dan Aykroyd probably does not need the money as much as Ernie does.
That's
like
true.
Ernie, there's a financial incentive, and frankly, they tried to rip the role away from him when the cartoon came out. So like, there might be more of an interest in reminding people I am Winston Zeddemore. Dan Aykroyd wants to do it because he's like, no, this Casper is real. There's a very real chance that just making this movie has manifested the spirit of the little boy Casper in this house, and I have to be there to see it.
I have to check. Yeah. Also, pretty upsetting that Bill Pullman with a vacuum cleaner takes on the ghostly trio, and Ray Stantz with his proton pack is like, ooh, too hairy for me in there. I was mad, even as a kid. Like, no, he can bust those ghosts. What are these ghosts? They're tougher than Slimer? I don't think so.
Okay, this is just you being upset on behalf of your special boys, your special Ghostbusters.
Yes.
So they then see Carrington back at her hotel, placing a desperate room service order for a pint of Haagen-Dazs. Rum raisin is her flavor. She also complains that all they have is fish. Don't you have any cows here? So she's had a rough one, and she wants some red meat and a tub of ice cream. She sees on TV a commercial for Dr. Harvey. Not a commercial, a news, like a hard copy style
Hard copy,
tabloid, a vague hit piece where, like, they are following Christina Ricci behind a chain link fence at her school. Like, is your father crazy? How do you feel about how crazy your father is? Does he ever hurt you in any way? Like, a very, feels like this would be pushing the bounds of taste even for, like, a modern TMZ style report. To be like, does your father hurt you in any way? Do the ghosts hurt you? Are they real?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because Casper has seen the ad, or was watching hard copy back at home, and had a crush on Christina Ricci, and so then is like, oh, this lady's trying to get ghosts out of the house. I would like this girl to come with her dad, the ghost getting guy. So then he affects to wheel the TV over to Carrington, whatever, it is shocking to think of doing this sort of piece on just like a guy. I mean, admittedly, he's like, I am a ghost hunter, but still.
not a hunter, a therapist.
Right.
He's a licensed spectral therapist, you might say. He claims that he will therapize the ghosts to resolve their unfinished business so that they can move on to the great beyond.
Now, I had never heard this as a concept of ghost, and maybe it predates this movie, but it sure feels like it is because of this movie that people will reference that. People will talk about ghosts having unfinished business, like that is a thing. And
Let me look that up.
I never heard of it until this movie, and then anytime people bring it up, I'm like, do you mean like in Casper? The movie where it's all unfinished business? Because the dad was still drunk when he died. I don't know. Their definition of what is unfinished business is pretty broad in this.
Yeah, well, in the climax, not to spoil it or jump ahead a little bit, but they basically
Never.
dispel. Carrington becomes a ghost in order to try to get the treasure. This is a real, like, Nathan for you level of, like, okay, so I'll kill myself, I'll get the treasure, I'll reanimate myself. What if you kill yourself and you're like, no, being a ghost is great. Also, I have no want for any of this stuff if I'm a ghost.
Yeah. Wishing for more money is not unfinished business. It's already, like, what is going on here, that there aren't ghosts everywhere because some...
No, but she was dead before she got the treasure. But
I'm saying that people want more money all their lives, and then they die, and it's not like, well, I gotta haunt this place until I get my extra money.
Well, maybe right before you die, you're like, oh, the money didn't matter. Whereas when she died, she was like, I want that money.
I think there's a lot of people that die like that.
But then they sort of like make it seem like it's a Wile E. Coyote thing, where if you don't look down and realize you're over the cliff, you're okay. Because once they sort of trick her into acknowledging that she doesn't have any unfinished business, she disappears into the ether.
Yeah.
So she decides to hire Bill Pullman. He drives out. There's a scene of him and Christina Ricci where she is clearly not sold that ghosts exist and annoyed at his behavior. It's a very much like a here's the single dad, the widower father with the girl who he maybe feels on the back foot with. He doesn't know how to be a proper parent because his wife is dead. It's an old crummy station wagon all full of junk. A lot of center cut tropes of this kind of relationship that you saw in movies in the 90s. Yeah. And she's like, it's very obvious from here that he became a ghost therapist because he's hoping to see his dead wife again. Which is probably the worst reason you could get into this line of work.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's not even like he doesn't even seem to want anything out of her. He's just like, oh, ghosts are real, and so I want to find her. And then he does say, like, when he sees her later, he's like, oh, I thought I'd have 100 things to say, but there's nothing. It's like, yeah, of course there's nothing. What are you gonna say? Hey, sorry you're dead. Wish you were still around. Could you be?
Yeah. He doesn't even say that he loves her. I mean, I guess
No,
it's assumed, but
true.
I would certainly tell the ghost of my dead spouse that I loved them. It's one of those things sometimes you say that to people when they're alive in moments when it's already assumed. If this is your one chance to talk to them again, you'd think it would come up.
I would think so.
So, Christina Ricci extracts a pinky promise, a pinky swear from her dad that if he doesn't find a ghost this time, if this one doesn't pan out, then he will give up the ghost. No, he won't die.
He will give up the ghost hunting.
The ghost hunt will be off. So they're headed to Maine, Friendship, Maine. And boy, does Maine look nice as they're rolling up on it. You get that nice sweeping shot of the bay, the water, the trees, green trees flecked with, perhaps we're approaching autumn, flecked with red and brown. The harbors, the boats, the landscapes, it all looks so beautiful. This was not filmed in Friendship, Maine. It was filmed in Camden, Maine. Pretty good. Friendship, Maine, when I was looking into it, I would imagine too small a city to have actually used as the filming location if you wanted these shots. Because as of the last census, Friendship, Maine has slightly fewer than 1,200 residents. It is a very small town. So, and certainly, I doubt there's a single house as big as Whipstaff Manor. So,
I did like, or I didn't like. I was.
He started to admit it. He started to admit he liked it, and now he's like, "No, I have to commit to this thing where I didn't like this."
I thought it was funny and weird and terrible that on hard copy they talk about him, Dr. Harvey, and his loner daughter.
Now along with his loner daughter, Kat, short for Kathy.
Like on TV, they're like, this daughter is a loner.
Yeah.
And then they're driving, and I had this moment where I was like, why does this feel like good? Even though it's all tropey, they're in the overstuffed station wagon, and all of this is something you've seen a couple times before. I was like, why does it feel so good? And I was like, oh, it's because they're in a car that's driving on the road. I'm not seeing shitty CG green screen behind them.
Yeah.
We used to watch cars go down the road, and it was pleasant.
So, they explore the house a little bit. Carrington is very incensed when he says that it could take months or years. She's like, no, not, days, yes, weeks, maybe, months, no, years, no. You gotta get on this. She's lording her check over people. So they take off. They leave Christina and Bill to the house. They go in. Christina Ricci goes up to the top of the stairs to one of the bedrooms, opens it up, sees 3 beds labeled Stinky, Fatso, and Stretch. And she says, huh.
Man, they had cool parents. Wonder where Doc and Dopey sleep.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. They're back, folks. We're back. A Seven Dwarfs story.
That's why we watched this one. It was because it was a tie-in. It's really a sequel to Snow White.
Every single episode of Now We Know, whether you've noticed or not, is somehow a tie-in to the previous episode. Go back and listen to all 185 episodes and see if you can work out the chain of custody. We get some little gags early on here. When Casper is first, introduced proper, he collects a bunch of water in his belly and then wrings it out over Christina Ricci's sleeping or passed out from fright body. This is a scene that it feels like a little perverse to me. I don't care for how this plays out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's trying to go and be friendly, but he doesn't know how, because every time he tries to be friendly, people scream. That is the Casper curse.
Yeah.
And so he
is so
does
friendly.
try to be
He's so friendly and he's so cute. Why don't you like this Casper?
I do
What's
not
your
like
problem
him.
with Casper?
I think that is the problem with this movie, more than any individual thing in the plot or the pacing, is just that I don't like Casper. I don't find him charming. I don't think I don't see his struggle as my struggle. He's weirdly horny for a dead little boy.
I mean,
he's
he's
like,
been
"There's a
around
girl
for
in my
however
bed."
many years. He's not. I think it's a little much to call him horny. I mean, he would like to kiss a girl. How old is he? 12?
He's
you didn't want
excited
to.
that
You
she's
didn't
in
want to
his bed.
smooch at 12. Come on.
He's excited she's in his bed. It feels not Casper-y. Yeah, I've got this bitch in my bed. He doesn't say that.
He doesn't say
there-
that because he's a
all of
friendly
those words
ghost.
appear in this movie.
If your objection
so-
is that high-powered, vindictive 90s women and their lovers/lawyers use the word bitch, I hate to tell you, that's just the world we lived in then, and it's the world we live in now.
I just feel, I'll get to it all at the end. But so Casper is trying to be friendly and, sort of sneaking up on her, like trying to figure out how to say hi. And so she keeps fluffing him like a pillow and stuff because she doesn't notice that he's there. And then finally he does say hi and she screams and passes out. And he goes and drinks water and then wrings it out over her. Implying all kinds of gross stuff going on there. Why couldn't he just bring a glass? He just had to do his weird bit.
Because he's a ghost.
Which
he likes doing his ghost stuff.
He doesn't even see himself. They say later he has no reflection, which is a weird ghost thing. And so it's like he's just imagining that he's turning into a room full of balloons or opening his mouth wide enough for a choo-choo train to go through. He can't see it. So you would think he would ask Christina Ricci, "What do I look like?" Do I know? Does he know? Does Casper know he's bald? And every other dead person looks like, a cheap cartoon version of themselves when they die.
Yeah.
But all the Casper ghosts look like the drawings, so it doesn't look like a real human boy.
The one thing I would consider a major flaw in the art direction of this movie is that inconsistent look of ghosts. If you are a human actor who we then see die and become a ghost, you look like a much shittier, oh look, here's a poorly rendered CG version of Kathy Moriarty. It's not. It does not work as well. In my head I thought, we don't get an Eric Idle ghost in this, and you don't. I was wrong about that. I was thinking of Nearly Departed. So,
as you so often are.
The gross uncles come back, and when they come back, they see Casper, they go,
Oh, look, it's Casper!
a Joyzy accent going on.
Yeah.
With one of them. I think that's Stinky who's doing that. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Brad Garrett. I only have the one voice.
It's true. Brad Garrett is Fatso. And it's, this relationship is depicted like sort of abusive, but they're all sort of into it. Casper doesn't seem too emotionally put upon by this dynamic, except that he's wary of them messing with his new friends. Which I think is probably the right tenor to strike. it doesn't quite add up because really his uncle ghosts are more menacing than he's giving them credit for. There's a real risk of them trying to menace or kill these humans. They do at one point resolve. It's said that they can't hurt humans. But then at one point they're acting like they're going to club Bill Pullman over the head with a wrench to kill and ghostify him. In a scene that bears a lot of similarities to the climax of The Friends of Eddie Coyle. When Eddie is witlessly and unawares getting drunk, not realizing the sword of Damocles is hanging over his head.
It's true. I didn't realize that. Never really put those things together, strangely. But Bill Pullman says ghosts can't hurt you because Christina Ricci wakes up, goes and screams for her dad. She's like, I saw a ghost, and he's like very suspicious of it, which is ridiculous and irritating. Except that we sort of figure out that he has never seen one, and kind of this was his own mania and was not based on ghost sightings. It's just based on wanting to see his dead wife. Yeah. But so he's like, ghosts can't hurt you. They're just spirits with unfinished business. So then when we don't have anybody say that's not true. And then he's like, fighting with the uncles when they come home. The ghostly trio. It feels weird to say the weird uncles with this vulnerable little boy. I don't like that scene, but the ghostly trio is there. And so whatever, he engages them in various kind of wacky fisticuffs, and I the whole time was like, well, but they can't hurt you. You just said that, and no one has said the opposite, and they never bonk him or anything. They just cut his belt and his pants fall down kind of stuff. So I was like, oh, they can't hurt you, and then there's the implication they're about to kill him way later. And I was like, well, but maybe they don't know that they can't kill him. And then Carrington just does kill Eric Idle, right?
Maybe he's not dead. Maybe she just bounces him out of the scene, but he's not dead. I'll remind you the immortal line from The Return of Jafar. You'd be surprised what you can live through.
I guess.
You remember that line? That was your second favorite line in that movie.
Yeah, my second favorite line. It is true that, she lives through some wacky stuff earlier when you think she's dead. So maybe it is the case that they can just bonk you in the same way they can hurt Casper, where he's like, "Whoa, I'm being shot to the moon."
Yeah, but we do get once the cat's out of the bag and the humans know, but the ghosts know the humans. There's a gross out scene where they're eating breakfast. Casper makes a very nice breakfast for Christina Ricci, even though she orders him around saying, sunny side up kind of makes me yak. It's like, I can understand having a preference for how you want to eat your eggs, but if you're going to eat eggs at all, are you really going to throw up at the notion of sunny side up? I don't know. If
maybe, but be polite. You're a guest.
Yeah. So he makes her the eggs. He scrambles up some eggs. He strains the orange juice to get rid of the pulp through his hand. He pours it through his hand and catches just the pulp. But then he hurls it against the wall. It's this is why this house is condemned. Right here. The cleanest ghost in this place is just throwing pulp at the wall. But yes, a nice breakfast is made.
He's using a Rube Goldberg thing to crack the eggs, and I was like, did he make this? But then later we learned that his father was an amazing inventor, so that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
But at the time, you're like, oh, Casper is like a tinkerer? Weird.
Yeah. Yeah, my father was an amazing inventor. He invented a mysterious fluid that brings you back from the dead. Couldn't crack pneumonia, though.
And he never used it on me. Yeah, I believe it brings you back from the dead, but I don't know who or what he brought back to test it.
The ghosts, the gross uncle ghost, come to the table too, and this is where we get their feeding frenzy scene, where they're just wolfing down food and it just falls through them onto the floor. Presumably it feels good to eat, even though it's going through them. How did Fatso get so fat? There's a question for you. Was just fat in life, I guess. He died like that. So, and then Casper sadly scoops up, has a little broom and handpan, and he's scooping up the food detritus after it hits the floor.
Yeah, and then he gets in trouble for that because they're like, "Hey, this is how we live. We like ghost stuff, and we're gross guys." Fatso, I feel like, in spite of being called Fatso, and there's plenty of jokes about him being fat, he isn't like constantly eating in the way that typically the fat kid in these movies is. He eats just as much as everybody else.
That's true, yeah. Similar to the Seven Dwarves, their things are not really their things. Like, the biggest one is Stinky Stink Breaths Bill Pullman twice, I think. But really, most of what they do is just hijinks. Just generic hijinks unrelated to their thing. Bill Pullman does successfully defeat and vacuum up the uncles at one point. And this is the right move because it's clear they'll only respect you if you stand up to them. They want to get their work in. They want to scrape. They want to spook. This is a mutually beneficial relationship they're forging here.
It's true. They do. They end up respecting him from it. It is interesting that is like that dynamic. When I was a kid, I just was like, I don't know. They're just dealing with each other. And now watching it, it's like, oh no, they are kind of like, oh, he was weird and messing with us, and we're weird and messing with him. Maybe we can keep this going for a little bit.
Yeah.
We just have to spook him out of the house.
Yeah,
Though
yeah.
Christina Ricci, when they move in, she's like, ooh, I found my room. It's Casper's room. And then she's, Bill Pullman's like, can I help you unpack? And she's like, why? What's the point? We're going to be gone in 2 weeks anyway. And he looks at her like, oh, hurt. And then she's like, I'm sorry. It's like, no, you're not living here. This isn't your new house.
Yeah,
This is just where you're staying until you bust the ghosts.
Yeah, that I did clock that as a bit strange. Yeah, although it did not diminish the overall quality of the film.
Never, nothing did. So they possess Bill Pullman in this first interaction before breakfast, and they dive into his mouth, and then he goes and looks in the mirror, and he turns into Clint Eastwood.
I'm gonna kill you, your mama,
and then he turns into Rodney Dangerfield.
You think you got it tough? I got a facelift. There was one just like it underneath.
And Mel Gibson.
The original conception of this scene, he was going to turn into Steven Spielberg as well. But Spielberg was supposedly relieved that was left out because he was like, I'm not good on camera. He was not thrilled with the whole notion. So
I wish M. Night Shyamalan realized that.
M. Night Shyamalan, whatever you want to say, I bet he's a better actor than Steven Spielberg.
I don't know. But yeah, so Clint Eastwood is there. He's like, I'm gonna. What does he say? He's like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill your fleshy body. And then he's Rodney Dangerfield, and he's like, oh, I got a facelift, and underneath it was the same face. And then Mel Gibson, and he's like, ooh, look at my Mel Gibson hair. And then it's the Crypt Keeper. Watching this, it's like, well, 2 out of 4 of these guys aren't so bad.
The Crypt Keeper, portrayed by John Cassier. Yeah, anyone who wants to know more about John Cassier should listen to the John Cassier episode of the Double Threat podcast with Tom Sharpling. He seems like, I would say, not a very gracious guest.
No. All right, so just Rodney Dangerfield is the only one of these that we can be happy to see.
Yeah,
happy with these cameos.
Certainly.
There were some lines here of the not bad guys, but the ghostly trio that I didn't like as a kid, and I still don't like. One is where they say because Christina Ricci is hiding in a closet at her father's behest, and they're like,
Hey boys, we got a closet case here.
"Oh, it's a closet case." Like, I don't know, what are we doing here? They get sucked into the vacuum, and Fatso's like, "This sucks."
Well, they're saying she's gay, but she's not out.
Right, yes, I know. I'm saying, what are we doing here? Why are we saying that? And then they're in the vacuum, and Stretch, let's say, says, hey, whose head's in my back or something? It's like, I'm getting poked by somebody's head. And then Fatso's like, that's not my head. Is it his dick? What is it? What's poking his brother?
I feel like it's more likely to be his ass than his dick.
He says it's poking me. Your ass is poking me?
Head-shaped. Right? Like, you're not going to confuse a dick for a head. I'm not saying
I will say
you're
that
likely
top
to
and bottom, they're pointy. You know, the ghosts. They come to a point on the top and the bottom. So you could argue that it's his tail, but
Sure.
It feels weird when you're like, what's poking me? You know, it's not my head.
So you feel both that this movie is a little too kiddie for your taste, but you also don't appreciate the jabs at adult humor.
Yeah, I don't like the raunch, guys. I feel like Casper is like a kid that's not relatable, and then suddenly he's like, but I'm actually like a horny tween, and I don't like that in my Casper the Friendly Ghost. I want him to be a proper kid, and it doesn't have to be this weird thing. Okay, so we get all this ghost stuff. Yeah.
I was just gonna say a lot of 12-year-olds kids want to smooch and they want to slow dance. You know,
he wants a girl in his bed.
I'm not
explicitly
saying that
is excited about the girl in his bed.
Well, he's lonely. He's a friendly ghost. He's been completely alone for 80 years, just with these disgusting, vile ghosts that make him clean up their filth everywhere he goes. And he's supposed to be like not excited to get to cuddle with a girl in his bed. Come on, get real. And it's so achingly sad because she doesn't even know he's trying to. She thinks, because he's so cold, she's like, close the window, Casper, it's cold. And then he sadly curls up at the foot of the bed like a dog. It's such a depth of emotional storytelling. This is after he takes her to the lighthouse to overlook the sea. It's second only to Titanic as the greatest American love story. So
he drags her to the lighthouse. But
it's true. It is a non-consensual and terrifying trip.
Yes, but before that, we've got all this ghost stuff. You know, they're eating breakfast. There's sort of a temporary ceasefire between them all. And then Christina Ricci's like, well, gotta go to high school now. And now it's like, oh God, we have to deal with just this boilerplate high school bullshit. Oh, she goes there. There's a cute boy. He's hitting on her, but he has a girlfriend who's the stuck-up rich one. And blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's the new kid in school. Is she weird? Oh, they're weird about her. Her last name's Harvey, and the teacher calls her Harvey. And they're like, Harvey. It's like, God, get me back to the ghosts. But then you get back to the ghosts, and that's not such great shakes either.
No, you get back to the ghosts, you're like, thank God, what a funny movie. What a funny, good movie. No, I don't like the raunchy ghosts either. I just, if Casper works for you, you're gonna like this movie. If for some reason you hate Casper, maybe because you think that, children should be wrapped in saran wrap, they shouldn't be allowed to hold hands, then maybe we've got a problem here.
Casper's the key to all this. If we can get him working.
If we can, they did. They did get him working. They got him working to the tune of a 5x profit margin.
5x. Ugh. I hate that tech shit. Tech speak. Oh, it's a variable. 5 times. The X means multiple. Yeah, so the kids are going to have a Halloween party, but it's been canceled because the asbestos removal is taking too long. So then the rich girl is like, oh, you can have it at my new boathouse. And everyone's like mildly excited about this.
Yeah,
and then
the teacher is like, okay, well, that's settled. No, you don't get to authorize that every kid in your school goes to a random student's house unsupervised for a Halloween party. You can say none of my business. You can't say, okay, well, that's settled.
That's the official party. We haven't asked the parents, of course.
Yeah.
And then Christina Ricci reveals that she lives in the haunted mansion, and then somebody's like, oh, we should do the party there. And the teacher's like, great, sounds good, settled. And they vote on it. Like, no. Very, like, here is some very dull high school stuff, followed by some quick plot devices just to get us there, because we need to have a Halloween party at the end of the spooky movie.
Yeah. Not a very spooky Halloween party either. More of a tender Halloween party, as it turns out. So there's now 2 concurrent threads that kind of take us to the climax of the movie. The uncle ghosts, they love Bill Pullman now. They love him so much, maybe they don't ever want to let him go. Maybe they want him to join them in eternal damnation. I guess are they damned? I don't know. I don't know what you would call this, but they're like, let's kill him so he becomes a fun ghost and will hang out with us. Casper has periodically said, can I keep you, to Christina Ricci. And this is their version of it. They're like, can we keep him? Can we keep Bill Pullman? And they decide we can if we club him over the head with this wrench. They take him out to a bar. They get him real good and sauced. And they're like, all right, let's let's do it. Let's murder him. Even though we've been told that they can't. But we are told that by him, and he's clearly never met a ghost and is making this stuff up. So
Right, yeah.
I guess it scans that they probably can. But then he talks about how great they are, and they feel a soft spot for him, so they decide not to do it. But then he drunkenly walks backwards out the bar and falls into an open trench.
We are going to clean out every bar this town has got. We're going to booze it until we lose it. Come on, come on.
That sounds as though... This really confused me as a kid. I was like, how deep is this... Like, it sounds like this may as well be Mel's Hole. Like, he's like, oh! It's like, how deep an open trench is positioned right outside this bar? No one else is in, so presumably they broke in or scared everyone out. But
there's a couple people. That's what I thought at first, but there are people later on. Because, like, they toss a shotgun that they were going to shoot him with, and some of the, like... It goes off, and then plaster falls on some guy's head.
Well,
but,
this bar shouldn't be open. We have an instant death hole right in front of the drunk factory.
Yeah, no. I mean, and trench. Trench implies like there's some pipes under there that you're, getting at. How deep are these pipes? These pipes are a mile down. So meanwhile, Casper has told Christina Ricci after he drags her to the lighthouse, he tosses her off the balcony, then grabs her in like a superhero look, and then just carries her by her ankle to a lighthouse. And then they're having a nice conversation at the lighthouse. And she asks him about his life, and he doesn't remember his dad, doesn't remember his mom. He's like, is that bad? She's like, no, it's just kind of sad, which is true, but I don't know, maybe be a little more delicate. So she finds boxes of stuff in a room that for no particular reason stated Casper doesn't go in, and she opens it all up, and like it's all his toys. So she puts out all his toys. They are proper little kid toys, which is why some of this Casper the Horny Ghost stuff does not work so well for me, because he's like, oh, a choo-choo train, oh, it's choo-choo. And so he regains his memory via this.
You have nothing else to do for 80 years. You're going to enjoy your choo-choo train set, even if you would also like to cuddle a girl.
He's supposed to want a friend. He doesn't want a friend. He doesn't feel towards her in a friendly manner. So then
he's friendly. That doesn't mean he's only looking for friendship. I'm friendly.
Casper horny. And so he is like, oh, wait, this reminds me of this. Oh, let's go over here. This reminds me of this. Okay, that means that this thing is over here. Oh, my dad was an inventor. He invented a Lazarus pit like Ra's al Ghul. And all we have to do is, go to this room and then that room. And now we go down through a Wallace and Gromit-y kind of, wake you up, brush your teeth, shave you mechanism.
Yeah.
And then they get down into his vast chamber, his vast underground chamber, where he has seemingly perfected this bring ghosts back to life machine for his son, who explicitly haunted him out of concern for his father after he died from sledding too much sledding. It was a sledding death. He just was sick from being out in the cold too long, and then
he had pneumonia. You go sledding in the freezing sleet and cold too long, you can easily get pneumonia. That checks out. I've had pneumonia.
Is that true?
It's no.
Yeah, from being cold, from disease, bacterial infection.
I tell you what, it's going to be worse if you're out sledding all day when you were in the early stages of having a bacterial infection.
Okay, let's say he was already sick, and then
I don't hear you.
Was a coincidence.
I don't hear you bitching and moaning like this when your precious Darby O'Gill is on, and they're like, "Oh, she's dying because it was raining."
I do complain about that.
She went out walking in the rain. There's a ghoul stagecoach here to take her away.
Pony in that movie is like more likable than any character in this movie. I would kill for a pony in this.
Wow. Okay. Well, you have there's something about Casper. Maybe you just see how charismatic Casper is, both as a friend and a potential lover, and it's like it's upsetting you, it's triggering something. That's fine, but Casper is very charming. He's a ghost he's a ghost as ready for the boardroom as he is the discotheque.
Pony Sugru is very charming.
No, he's not. He's terrible. He's a terrible boor. He's a boor, and isn't he like a doesn't he try to force himself on the woman?
I don't think it's as intense as that. I think
if Sean Connery weren't there though, because the guy he like corners them in the glade, right? And then Sean Connery has to like scare him off.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's fine. That's not objectionable. But Casper slow dancing with Christina Ricci, that's beyond the pale.
So,
get this little bastard out of here.
So anyway, Casper's dad has cured death, but does not use it on his ghost son for reasons unstated.
Maybe he died immediately after he cracked it. It was so exciting, his heart gave out.
Who did he use it on to test it? But he's got one bottle left, just enough for one, of the primordial soup that will go into the machine. Christina Ricci just starts randomly pulling levers, but they have been followed by Corrington and Dibbs.
Carrington. Yes.
Carrington,
I was about to correct you on Dibbs before I realized that is his name.
That is his name. Anyway, Carrington steals the bottle out from under the machine, so then Casper just turns into a fried egg. But Christina Ricci does not yak. And they find the safe, but they can't get the safe open. So then Carrington is like, oh, we've got this stuff. It means that I don't have to fear death ever again. So I could die, but then come back. But while I was dead, I could fly through stuff and go through stuff. Thick walls. And then Dibbs is like,
thick as steel.
Thick as steel, which is not a thickness.
No.
And so then she goes about trying to kill him. There's a really weird moment here. Who is in the knight in the knight's armor?
That's Eric Idle.
Because she comes after Eric Idle with an axe. He runs away. Immediately, he is in a suit of armor, spreading out some slippery stuff for her to slip on.
Yeah.
And then the next scene we see him, he has no suit of armor on and is back to his rumpled suit.
Yeah. It's called a quick change, Kevin. People who have a lot of experience doing, stage work and as Eric Idle certainly does, they know all about how to slide in and out of a suit of armor.
So it's the actor Eric Idle that is dressed as this. It's not Dibbs. It's Eric Idle himself.
It's Eric Idle portraying Dibbs. But this was all filmed in real time.
I just wonder, was this sequence a lot longer? And we get him hiding in the suit of armor and peeking out from it, her hunting him down.
It does feel like it should have been longer. If you're going to have this thing of cat and mouse game, who's going to be the ghost? Because it really only has, she attacks him, she slips down the stairs, then he avoids getting hit by her car, and then she's dead. It moves pretty quick. I have to think that maybe they were like, the physical comedy here is not really working. Certainly Eric Idle, whatever you want to say about him in this movie, he's better suited to this kind of comedic premise than Kathy Moriarty is, I think. He's got a little more juice as a physical comedian, as a founding member of Monty Python.
Indeed. He is not at the top of his game in this era or in this sort of thing. I think he's still good in Baron Munchausen, when he is
nearly departed.
When he's in a weird thing by one of his buddies, he can still be good. The problem is that just this sort of normal, be the wacky guy in a normal thing, he's not at his best. So
I was just gonna say, Carrington tries to run over Eric Idle with her car. She fails. Unbeknownst to her, the car is now hanging off a cliff. She gets out of the driver's seat and falls to her death. Eric Idle asks if she's a ghost, and then gives it 2 seconds and concludes she isn't, and then starts to leave. But then she rises up, looming behind him, and says,
"Not so fast, little man. The bitch is back."
Think again. The bitch is back. The first of 2 bitches in this movie.
Yeah. She also calls him a flaccid little worm.
Yeah.
And then when Christina Ricci is like, "Oh, I need a costume for this Halloween party that we are having at my house," and is like, "Oh, Dad, I found your Visa card," and there's like a shot of the Visa card with the Visa logo on it, subtle. And he's like, "Oh, I thought we could just do a cute something," and she's like, "No, I don't want to be cute. I want to look good, like a date good." She invented, the sexy Halloween costume concept.
This is not a sexy Halloween costume. She dressed in like Casper's grandmother's
yes, yeah,
wedding day slip or something. It is a very unsexy outfit.
It's true, but when she says this to her dad, he's like, "Oh, maybe we should have a talk about things." Like he's gonna have a sex talk, and she's like, "Oh, it's a little late for that, Dad." And you're like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Wait, what? How late?" And she's like, "Well, not that late." So no, it's like, which characters in Casper have fucked is not something that I wanted to be thinking about as a kid. Don't want to be thinking about it now.
I don't think that you're supposed to think she's fucking. I think what she's getting at is that we live in the 90s. I know all that stuff. This is supposed to be a whatever you think. Like we're all cursing and we all know about sex at school. If she's 12 years old, she's probably been through at least a couple years of sexual education by now.
She's not 12. She's in high school.
Oh, well then
He's 12.
Yeah. So no, there's no.
But
this isn't weird at all.
But he says the implication is that her dad is afraid that she's been having sex. That he's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. I don't need this in my kid ghost movie. So yes, now all the people that need to be dead are dead, so that we can set up this thing where, of course, there's only one bottle of live juice that everybody wants. Casper wants it so he can get his nut.
This is the juice that unalives you.
Yes, it would unalive them. Kathy Moriarty is a ghost, and she'll want that to be not a ghost, so she can spend the treasure.
Are you supposed to think that Kathy Moriarty, as depicted here, is a sexy ghost? Is she supposed to be hot in this form?
I think slightly.
They're bothering.
The boobs are more intense.
They are, and they're animating them sort of swaying and bouncing a little bit as she drifts around. She is not portrayed in any even, I would say, mildly sexual way in any other point of the movie. So it feels like becoming a ghost, you forget. She doesn't forget anything about her previous life. But then when you see that Bill Pullman is a ghost, does she?
She
what
does,
does she forget?
Yeah, Eric Idle says something to her about trying to get the treasure or something, and he's like, "Don't you remember?" And she's like, "Remember what?" So there is the light implication of that, but she's much more mission oriented than any of the other ghosts.
But yeah, when Bill Pullman shows up as a ghost, it's quickly like, "Oh, I don't remember who my daughter is." She offers her pinky for the pinky swear, and he does a pull my finger.
Yeah, I remember.
No.
This is a good. This is, I think, a good scene of wow, this guy. He wasn't a good dad before, but this is as rough a resolution to having a bad dad as it gets. Because she doesn't even know the story of what happens. For all she knows, he willingly killed himself so that he could live forever with these gross ghosts.
It does seem like that. Kathy Moriarty is like, "Oh, I got this treasure chest, and I knocked Eric Idle out the window. Whether he lives or dies, I guess we don't know."
He does call her a bitch before.
Yes, because he says, "I'm not going to give you this treasure. I'm going to, you can haunt me all you like. You can haunt me in a giant mansion where I will be living with all this money in this treasure chest, and I'll have a dog."
And a little dog called Carrigan. A bitch, just like you.
Yeah. And then Carrington kills him.
Yeah.
He has never been privy to this claim that ghosts can't kill people, so I don't know why he's so... He's feeling pretty fat and happy here, undeservedly.
Yeah. He's seen them throw chairs and stuff. You can get hit by a chair and die. All kinds of stuff.
He saw them twist Guido Sarducci's head all the way around behind his body.
But he was fine.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah.
So then she's got all the stuff that she wants, and then Christina Ricci is like, "Haha, I have special ghost knowledge from my dad who made it all up." you have finished your unfinished business. I'm going to tell you that. And then she's like, yes, I have everything I want. And
they don't tell her, they bait her into acknowledging it. They raise the notion of it, which she is unaware of, because apparently not even ghosts get that that's how it works.
Wait! I lied! I have unfinished business, lots of unfinished business! I'm not ready to cross over yet! Wait! You tricked me, you rotten little rat!
And then she's like, no, I have everything I want. And then she starts disappearing. She's like, no, wait, I do have unfinished business, which is true. She hasn't opened the treasure. Right. If you can talk your way into not having it, you should be able to talk your way into realizing you do still have unfinished business. She was meaning to reanimate herself. That's the very definition of unfinished business.
My unfinished business is coming back to life.
Yeah. Maybe that just doesn't count. Maybe that is a goal that is outside the... Because that would presumably be true of almost everyone who goes...
Right.
On some level, if wanting to keep living is unfinished business, then we're in trouble here in this cosmology.
Right. Yeah.
So she is vanquished. She dies without even opening the treasure, which is probably best for her because she would be mighty irritated to find that all that is inside, like the movie Richie Rich, where he's like, what's in the vault? Oh, it's just a bunch of bicycles and baseballs. It's similar to that, where it's like, no, there's an old baseball glove and a ball signed by Duke Snyder. Signed by the third best center fielder in New York City.
Also, while this is going on, guess what? The party's happening. Oh, the doorbell's ringing. She's down in the chamber with like Ghost Carrington and Dibs, and then Casper's like pushes her back up the same Rube Goldberg contraption so that she can go get the door. And then immediately she's like, okay, enjoy the party. Got to get back down to this chamber to continue the climax of the movie. Goofy.
Yeah, it's a little goofy, but it's fun to watch her go up and down the chair. And also, it's just fun to watch Casper cook. So Casper now is like, well, I see the writing on the wall here. I have to, in order to prove my love for Kat, I have to relinquish the life juice so that her dad may live again. I don't know if I'd do that. I don't even know if I was Christina Ricci that I would want this. I'd be like, you know what? My dad is a mess. And I think this was bound to happen. I don't know what happened here, but I would certainly feel betrayed at the way it's presented. She never gets clarity on how he died. She doesn't know that this was ultimately an accidental death of drunkenness, if that even excuses it, which it doesn't really. If there's anything this movie makes very clear, it's the importance of strong oversight and ethical boundaries in psychotherapy. He's supposed to be these ghost therapists, but he goes out binge drinking with them, then falls in a ditch and dies. This is the sort of thing...
Yeah, they don't push him into the ditch. They get him drunk. Yeah. But that could happen any night out here in these main streets with these deep ditches. Yeah.
So he did everything wrong, and he paid the price. And now because of that, Casper has to hand over the last bottle of life juice, the life crystals. These life crystals, we only have one left.
How could Casper have died? He had the life crystal. It sounds ridiculous.
Your brain, it's working so poorly.
See how badly your brain is working. How could they be dead? They invented these life crystals. Commander, I feel sorry for you.
Now we get the emotional climax of the movie, following the confrontation with evil in the form of Carrington. Casper doesn't get to be a real boy because he relinquished the life juice. But then, from the heavens comes, in the attic, it is Kat's mom. A ghostly visage of Kat's mom, although he asks, are you an angel? And her reaction seems to suggest, yes, I am not a ghost, I am an angel, which is why I look normal. This is
and remember stuff.
Yeah, this is center cut 90s, touched by an angel vision of angelhood. Like, her hair is constantly backlit. There's just like a glow all around her. And she says that because he has been such a good boy, she will bestow onto him the power to live again, but only till 10 p.m. Not midnight like Cinderella, because Cinderella was older, I guess. Frankly, in the original fairy tale, given standards back then, it wouldn't shock me if Cinderella were 12 and were
12-ish.
off to be married off. But in this instance, he only gets till 10. Frankly, he just saved the life of your former spouse. You have to think she doesn't have the power to bring him back permanently, right? I feel like if she did, she would. This has to be like, I've snuck off and I've got this much juice and no more. And I've come up with sort of a cute reason why. So she turns him into young Devon Sawa. She then also has a little rendezvous with Bill Pullman. And this is where he's like, I always thought I'd, have 100 things to say, but I can't think of them.
James, I know you've been searching for me. But there's something you have to understand. You and Kat loved me so well when I was alive that I have no unfinished business.
And she's like, yeah, I know, but also you need to be a better dad to our daughter, which is true. She's like, don't make her wear a swimsuit. Don't make her wear a shirt under her swimsuit. She's a teenager now. And be more, just everything you're doing, do better. Be more like together. She's nice about it, but that's the clear undertone, if not overtone here. He doesn't even reach out and try to hug or kiss her. I don't know if that would have worked, but like every impulse I would have in this situation, he seems totally not interested in, which is weird given the incredible single-minded zeal with which he has pursued this moment.
Yeah, no, it's it's relatable in the one sense where you're like, oh, I thought I wanted this, and now that I have it, I don't even know what I wanted about it.
Yeah.
But it feels like weak screenwriting. It's not like, wow, this is an interesting, like, complex feeling that we're getting out of this. It's just like, I don't know, why did he want to meet her?
Yeah. And then we get the iconic dance scene with Christina Ricci and Devon Sawa that apparently was a young sexual awakening for so many people we know. People are are crazy for Devon Sawa in this.
That is
it instilled in Kevin a bitterness and a resentment that he has not gotten over in these past 30 years.
I didn't want to see human Casper. I never wanted to see human Casper. It's like, I don't know. It's the kind of thing that feels like what a screenwriter would come up with. Well, of course, Casper wants to be alive, and I don't even think that that's a thing in the comics. He just wants to not have people be scared of him.
Well, look, if he's a ghost and he wants to cuddle, you judge him. He wants to turn into a human, so it's not weird that he wants to cuddle and slow dance. You judge him then. This ghost can't win with you.
That's true. He's not a winner. There's also music playing, this generic, not even listed in the credits song. That's like. They keep saying like all around the world, and I was like, did Daft Punk steal it from this? Like, you know what? I didn't really love that Casper movie. Yeah. Obviously, we were influenced by a lot of stuff from the 70s, but also a song from 1995. So he comes down. Christina Ricci, the bully jerks, boyfriend and girlfriend from earlier, were trying to do some sort of a thing, unspecified, where they like spooked everybody, where she's on his shoulders, but then they get spooked by the real ghosts, so they go running out, fall down, and then she gets dragged away, and everyone applauds at first just that they're in pain and sad, and then they turn to Christina Ricci. Oh, it was actually you, the founder of the feast, that did this. 3 minutes later, she's sitting all alone in a chair. No one wants to talk to her. You can't have it both ways. You can't have you get the applause moment, but also she's a wallflower.
She's a little standoffish. She's kind of a drip. You could be like, oh, actually, you're pretty cool, but if you're still getting nothing and it's still awkward, you're going to be like, all right, well,
bye.
We really are appreciative that you're here. She's also preoccupied about Casper. She's sad about how Casper was almost alive again, but her dumb fuck dad necessitated the stealing of this juice that was made for Casper, presumably labored over for God knows how long. So, and that's basically the end of the flick. They dance, they kiss.
They dance, they fly, they kiss.
He gets his one kiss in right before he re-ghosts. And then it seems like they're just going to keep living there happily as one big happy family.
It's not their house.
It's their house now. The owner's dead. And they have squatters' rights. It's basically their house. There's no one with legal claim to it anymore. beyond that, it's not even like... Well, I guess her dead body is there because it fell off the cliffs. So it does look a bit like they murdered her, but I'm sure that'll be blamed on a lover's quarrel between her and Dibbs, who is also either dead or missing in the bowels of the mansion. And no one's gonna come out here looking for them, and if they are, they'll be spooked out. These ghosts can make these ghosts pick who lives here at the end of the day.
That is true.
More than any state resolution ever could. So.
And then they sing the Casper the Friendly Ghost song from the cartoon show of the 60s or whatever. Yeah. But it's Little Richard singing it. Remember Little Richard? We loved Little Richard in the 90s. I don't know where he went from 1955 to 1992, but...
Yeah, perhaps him doing it a tip of the hat to the fact that it is Little Richie Rich.
They really should have gotten Macaulay Culkin for this to make sense.
Yeah. So, there you have it. That's Casper, 1995, directed by Brad Silberling, who would go on to direct City of Angels, which is also about a guy who, like... It's about Nicolas Cage playing an angel who wants to return to life because he's got the hots for Meg Ryan. He then went on to do the 2004 Lemony Snicket movie with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then the Land of the Lost movie with Will Ferrell, which I regret to say. Surely you like this better than that, right?
I didn't see it.
I saw it on an airplane en route to Japan. Wasn't very good.
Yeah, shocking.
So yeah, Casper. I'm sorry that you didn't enjoy this one very much. I'm glad I saw it again. It was nice to refresh my memory that this is a fundamentally pretty solid children's movie. But, your mileage may vary, and it did.
It did. What was the impetus for this? For us watching this? It feels like a Halloween pick to me.
I mean, it's not really scary. There's no impetus, really. Just, I don't know. Maybe I'm worried I'll be dead soon. Maybe I'm struggling in love. Maybe I'm worried I'm be dead soon. Maybe the two of those will intertwine in some way where it's like, actually, now that I'm a ghost, I'm the ghost with the most. I'm getting a lot of action.
I see.
No, in reality, there was no impetus, although canonically we have stated that the impetus is the Doc and Dopey line. So commit to the bit.
Yes, it's a Snow White. It's a Snow White sequel, obviously. I'm sorry.
Casper, a Snow White saga.
You should really be calling this Snow White 2, and now, of course, Snow White 3 was the live-action one.
Yeah.
I just feel like this era, we talk a lot about how 80s movies will have grown-up stuff for kids, and it's like, oh, this is really good. Why didn't they keep doing this? And then you see this, and it's like, well, you're trying to do some sort of grown-up thing for kids, but it's not... Doesn't feel like it has the heart and soul that that like E.T. does for instance, and I think that.
I wonder if this is better than E.T.
I don't.
I'm not a big E.T. guy, but it's probably better than this.
Yeah, it is definitely better than this.
I don't get objecting to Casper as a guy and being like, but I love this E.T., this little freak over here.
Sorry, he's got it. Or you got it or you ain't. And E.T. got it.
Looks like if you fed the rare candy from Pokemon to the Eraserhead baby, you'd get E.T.
Yeah, and yet. So much more likable and lovable and fun to look at. I think this movie just is trying to do it's like it's the gritty reboot of Casper. Not for me. Not for me. Not for children, Kevin. Not for grown-ups, Kevin. Not a fan. I don't see why it did so well. It had bad reviews. It had a bad score, for whatever that means.
Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, and he was pretty much the last word back then.
Yeah. What about Siskel?
He called it a technical achievement and said that it even has a little winsome philosophy.
What's the philosophy? Just doing the King of Queens shrug. But I'm glad that I never have to watch it again. No one will make me. It's not like, some of these movies I have to be nice about, Shrek and things like this.
I think you'll find that there will always be someone lurking around who will be upset if you talk down on Casper. Do not talk down on my MVP. Official Casper apology form. I believed the critics.
It was so grueling, the end. It just drags on and on and on. They've already killed the bitch. And then there's like 20 minutes of just this cloying bullshit of, the angel mom comes back. Is Casper supposed to be a reflection on life and death? I don't think so. I think it's supposed to be a cute movie about a ghost, and we don't really ask questions about whether he was alive or what he did or his rosebud. What's his rosebud? That's what this movie is about. It's like, it's as deep. Anyway.
Well, I thought it was cute.
Don't like it.
I thought it was
Great.
cute. I thought it was nice to see Bill Pullman reunited with his wife. Heartwarming stuff. And I think you're a bit of a Grinch on this subject. I just think it's funny. Usually I'm more like you. But in this instance, my heart is open. I've accepted love into my life, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Great. Happy for you. So what would you say is the
you
most kid-friendly bit?
You don't sound it.
What would you say is the most kid-friendly bit of Casper?
Casper himself. I think he's a good time ghost. He's a friendly ghost. He's a fun ghost. He's cute. And he serves as the sort of audience stand-in. Because, even a gross kid's not going to want to think of themselves as fatso.
That's true.
So, yeah, it's Casper. His essential Casperness is the kid-friendliest bit.
How did this affect you as a kid?
It made me want to slow dance and get that smooch.
Sure.
Which I did not too long after this. I was slow dancing and smooching about the same age Casper was here, so maybe it's less scandalizing to me.
Sure. With a high schooler? Sure.
No. But I wouldn't have said no. I mean, it would have been wrong afterwards when I looked back on it, but, Most of what I do in life feels wrong and weird when I look back on it afterwards.
When would your mom have walked in?
She probably didn't like all the bitch talk. That definitely, I think, would not have endeared her.
Would you show any future children?
Sure. Yeah. I think it's I think in particular I'd be happy to show future children because I think this is a classier and more classier is the wrong word. It's a more responsible use of computer graphics than a lot of movies you get now. It's like, no, the computer graphics they're front and center here with Casper, but it's also being used sparingly enough that's sort of a light garnish on top of a normally filmed movie. And I think that's good. We gotta make sure that kids can still tell the difference between computer and real. More and more, more and more, we need to ensure that computer and real are distinct.
Yeah. Nowadays, everything is computer. And what would you say this says about society at the time?
I mean, we had a run in the I don't know if it's a wider slice, but a run of companies trying to get back to basics with resuscitating these classic characters. We had the Richie Rich movie, obviously, which I think was just a year after this, if that. We had the Felix the Cat movie, which we did previously. Felix the Cat's the co-creator of Casper the Ghost was also the creator of the Felix the Cat TV series from the 50s. Joe Oriolo, whose name is why the Felix the Cat movie, The Kingdom They Go To, is like Oriona. It's because of Joe Oriolo. So the influence runs deep. And, then DuckTales is the same thing. DuckTales and Scrooge McDuck exist within the family and sphere of Donald Duck. But they were sort of long forgotten at the time DuckTales came up, those old Carl Barks comics. And, it's similar to the Looney Tunes thing, the durability of Looney Tunes. It's like, no, old can be cool, And if you think old isn't cool, well, you may be done with old. Old ain't done with you. Casper's back. You're gonna love him. And audiences did. Audiences loved Casper to the tune of more than 5 times its budget. Obviously, if you double the budget, what is a $250 million back then adjusted for inflation? This movie may have done better if you adjust for inflation than like Mufasa did recently. And
Yeah.
Mufasa is big business, much to our chagrin. You like this more or less than Mufasa?
Less.
Okay. What? Ugh, what? God. What a wretched man you are. My goodness. My goodness. I mean, you like this more than Deadpool and Wolverine, right?
Yes. Yeah. But
what movies have we done recently that you like less than this?
I'm not like that guy, but
I mean, you're on
Snow
this
White.
show. We compare things all the time. Even if I'm not
I
putting
complain about things all the time.
Even if I'm not
I don't
putting
say
a
like as opposed to.
If you're opposed to me putting like a number, like, oh, this is a 79 out of 246, I feel like saying, do you like Snow White 2025 more than Casper feels squarely within the bounds of things I hear you say.
I would sooner rewatch Snow White 2025 than Casper.
As bad as that, folks. As bad as that.
That's how bad it is.
As bad as that to see what's happened to you. Okay. Well, fair enough. Comment is free, I suppose.
Yep. That's what they tell me. Yeah. Well, yeah. You know, this was an earlier example of dipping into the IP. It was before we had things like Baboon, a Pep Boys story.
Alright, that's about it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening and watching on youtube.com. @NowWeKnowPod on YouTube. Our theme music is by Seth Milstein, aka No Rush. You can find his work at norush85.bandcamp.com. You can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can review individual episodes of this show on Spotify. Obviously, that's the audio-only version. You now get audio and video, which is just a testament to how much we care about your experience, the viewer/listener. Also, check us out on social media, @NowWeKnowPod on Twitter, Instagram, and we may have Twitch stuff coming soon. You can see me on Twitch at Mr. Christopher Video Machine. Also, check out patreon.com/nowweknow, where you can subscribe for a low cost of $5 a month, and in so doing, you will turn this bi-weekly podcast that you know and love into a weekly podcast, as we now are providing 2 Patreon episodes per month, a new episode every single week. It's the new innovation in this whole thing that I was going to say you didn't know you needed, but we've had a lot of requests for this, and now it's real. So go to patreon.com/nowweknow, sign up, support the show, and nary a week will you be without a new episode of this fine enterprise. Want to be part of the show? Call the Now We Know hotline at
415-349-3659 and leave a message.
So now we know, but what do we know?
Rose is displeased. What to do?
Brad's the executive plumber.
Does your kind ever think about love, Chuck?
Right, I'll ask him, but I don't think he'll be very keen. He's already got one, you see.
If I were the boy in the purple socks, I'd hang myself.
The heart of a pig.
Muffins are so simple.
Wonder where Doc and Dopey sleep.
And now we know.
We know now.
Bye,
bye everyone. Bye, bye. Love you, bye.